Thanks for joining me for another episode of Soul Ascension Insights. My name is Dave and I'm your host. In part one of this series, episode number 24, I spoke about human pilots being trained to fly fifth density technology spacecraft. And in part 2 and 3 of the Jupiter Accord series, we'll see how Nordic ET's appearance has changed to go unnoticed on Earth, and my speculation on a coming change to our financial system, which will certainly rile some folks up. With that said, let's get started with episode number 25, titled Dispatches from the Jupiter Accords, Part 2. The information supplied in this episode is from Dr. Michael Sala's book, U.S. Army Insider Missions 3, which is centered on an Army insider known as JP. JP is an alias for a U.S. Army Space Program soldier who was given the green light from his command to talk about certain missions he is sent on. My thanks to Dr. Sala, Megan Rose, and Elaine Dana, who are the premier voices reporting on the intervention by the Galactic Federation of Worlds and the resulting Jupiter Accords. I recommend you follow these three for ongoing information about the Federation and the Jupiter Accords. The following was one of JP's missions. On January 12, 2024, JP and 3 other soldiers boarded a passenger van and traveled to a remote area on a military base in Florida. As they waited in a large open field, they saw a Black Hawk helicopter land, and 2 pale-looking Nordic ETs got out and jogged over to the van. In perfect English, and sounding just like any other soldier, they said, "Hey, how you guys doing? We just came from the Atlantic Space Ark." JP had met and interacted with other Nordics, who he described as sounding like Spock from Star Trek. Always to the point in a just the facts kind of way, so their speaking style surprised JP. It was a cold day, so the Nordics got in the heated van. The Nordics said, "We're waiting for 2 more to arrive." The American soldiers saw an unusually shaped spacecraft high in the sky coming down slow. As it got to about 4 feet off the ground, the ship tilted forward, an opening appeared, and 2 more pale Nordics emerged and started jogging over to the van. As JP watched them, he could see the spacecraft behind them tilt back to level, and in a blink of an eye, it shot straight up at an incredible speed, leaving a hole in the high white clouds. All 4 Nordics found the astonished reaction of the Americans amusing. The approaching Nordics were speaking a language JP could not understand. JP speaks 3 languages, and to him it sounded like an ancient Greek dialect. The Nordics in the van said these 2 were from the moon. They were excited to see each other, like cousins who had been separated for years, and the 4 Nordics spoke to each other in the same strange dialect. JP describes the Nordics' uniform as a one-piece medium shade of blue that fits tight with the boots attached. The fabric looks partly metallic, as it slightly shifts colors as they move. JP speculates that their uniform helps deflect the sun's radiation that is higher in space than on the Earth. The male Nordics are all around 6 foot tall with pale skin, long blonde hair, high-defined cheekbones, and square jaws with incredibly blue eyes. They look like Vikings, hence the nickname Nordics. Now the 4 Nordics, the 4 Americans, and the van driver drove from one side of the base to the other and parked at a nondescript building on the outskirts of the base. The 4 Nordics got out of the van, told the Americans to wait for them, and entered the building. About an hour later, they emerged from the building, looking like any typical American civilian. Short hair, tan skin with normal facial features, dressed in jeans, boots, shirts, and casual jackets. The only thing the same was their piercing blue eyes. They also carried passports, driver's licenses, and other typical documentation, including plane tickets. 2 had small carry-on suitcases, and the other 2 had typical traveler's backpacks. One emerged with Oriental facial features. JP and his group were stunned at this transformation. One of the Nordics told JP that they got in a capsule that had a clear top, laid back, and through some form of technology were transformed. After that, different clothing choices were suggested, and they selected the clothing combination that suited them. The next stop on this mission was the local civilian airport. Through their conversation, they knew one was headed to Japan, but they did not know where the other Nordics were headed. I can imagine that the Nordics were technical experts heading to different government and corporate locations to provide specific assistance in the furtherance of the Jupiter Accords. As mentioned in episode 23, the Federation Command Base in the Moon is their center for advanced medical technologies training of Earth Alliance medical personnel. It's possible that those 2 Nordics are bringing the plans for such technologies to the corporations who are assigned to manufacture these advanced medical devices. JP and the other soldiers' role in this mission was to provide security for the Nordics from their arrival to their entering the airport. I can imagine that there were other American personnel who were at the departing and arriving airports to ensure that the Nordics' travel plans ran smoothly and each reached their final destination. It's interesting to imagine these advanced ETs who travel in 5th density spacecraft waiting in line to board a commercial flight on a lumbering airliner, sitting with regular folks as they're offered highly preserved airline snacks. Must have been quite an experience for them. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Soul Ascension Insights. I sincerely appreciate your time. In the next episode, we'll join JP on another mission that I believe was a precursor to the implementation of a new monetary system. As always, I'll leave a book and media list below for those who wish to explore further. Thanks again, and I'll be back with more episodes.